Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Houston Sports Talk back into the video day, and today I want to wish Hubie Brown a happy retirement. Today, the amazing Hubie Brown, coach, and for a longer time has been an NBA analyst and broadcaster, has retired at the age of 91. Let's start off with the fact that how incredible it is that he is still calling games at 90, 91 years old. It is so rare to see broadcasters in sports to do what Hubie was still doing at 91 years old before retirement. And the only person I know, look, I said sure there might be another person in sports broadcasting outside of Hubie and this other person. The Brewers play-by-play announcer, legendary play-by-play announcer Bob Uecker, who suddenly, just passed away, sadly, a couple months ago, or maybe a month ago, and he was 90. So, and still calling games, and said he wasn't gonna stop calling games until he passed away, and unfortunately, he just passed away. But so you have guys like Bob Uecker with the Brewers and Hubie Brown in the NBA that are calling games at their age, and it's like it's incredible the fact that they're doing it. And I don't know. Look, yes, there are some older announcers, but not that old as far as my knowledge goes. So incredible, just incredible. We can talk about how incredible it is that Hubie was still calling games at this age. But I think what is more of an incredible story, to me at least, and why I love Hubie Brown so much, is the teaching you learned, what you learned about the game of basketball when you watched him call a game. Like, Hubie Brown was so instrumental for me as a basketball fan. So when I started watching basketball, like, I knew, like, before I started playing basketball at like 6 years old. So I started playing basketball in like 2013, 2014. But I liked the game of basketball at 6, 7 years old, at 2013, 2014. But I never really cared about the NBA. Look, I knew my favorite team was the Rockets, but I didn't want to watch them. And I didn't care about the rest of the league. I knew who my favorite team was, but I didn't want to watch them. I just wanted to play basketball and continue to learn how to play basketball and just cared about playing the sport. Until 2016, I was, funny enough, looking to watch a cartoon or something like that. And the Rockets game was close to like the Disney Channel, whatever I was looking for. And I found the Rockets game. And I remember funny enough, it's funny enough that I'm bringing this up, that they're playing Hubie Brown, where Hubie Brown was a legendary, that's where he coached, and that's where his last game was today, and they had his last game in Milwaukee, because that was a special meaning to Hubie Brown. So I turned on a Rockets game, and they were playing the Milwaukee Bucks, and I was like, oh, I'll watch this. And I'm starting to watch, and look, it's not like I didn't know what basketball was, because I played basketball, but I didn't want to watch it. And I'm watching James Harden killing the Bucks, because this was 16-17 season. Harden started killing the Bucks, and he was putting on a masterpiece. And I'm watching. I'm like, this is awesome to watch. And I'm like, I think I'm really starting to think, all right, I know I like basketball. Why don't I watch basketball? And so after that game, I started to watch basketball more. And it started turning into watching every Rockets game. And then it started turning into not just watching Rockets games, but watching other games. And that's when listening to the great Hubie Brown started to happen in my life. And started to hear Hubie Brown. And look, like I said, I knew basketball, but I learned more about basketball each time I listen to Hubie Brown. Even years down the road, 5 years later, even though I pretty much think, I'm thinking my basketball knowledge is pretty amazing, and I know everything, and then I hear Hubie Brown talk, I'm like, I'm still learning things from this guy 5 years later. So incredible. And incredible. There is no no NBA announcer that is better than Hubie Brown at teaching the game of basketball, and just helping you learn things about basketball, not just how the game works, but history of the game, and what's going on both sides of the floor. And incredible, just as such an incredible announcer and such an amazing human being. And it's sad that the NBA is going to lose him. But I'm happy. Some people, like, you could be like Bob Uecker with the Brewers and say, I'm never going to retire. I'm going to die, calling baseball games. And he literally did. Or you can be like Hubie and say, you know what? I want to spend my look. And I wish Hubie can have a longer life. I mean, I had an aunt that lived to 104. I mean, so I hope that Hubie can have a good 10 years or so. You never, at 91, you never know how many days, months, or years you're going to have. So you don't want to spend, even if he can, you don't want to spend the final months, years of your life calling basketball games. And look, but sure, you could be like Bob Uecker, who did what, he did, never going to stop calling games. But, some people in their last years maybe want to spend their time with their family, and maybe that's what Hubie needs. And he hasn't been calling that many games this year. I don't know if he had been. I think I remember him calling one other game. I think he's called a game or two this year before this game. But it's just such an honor to get to say I got to listen to this guy announce. Such an amazing broadcaster. And I know he's not going to hear this. I don't even think he probably watches YouTube. And if he does, I know I'm definitely not on his YouTube feed. So I know he's not going to hear this. Thank you. But I know I'm not the only one. Thank you, Hubie Brown, for what you've done teaching the game of basketball. I think without Hubie Brown, I'd probably would have learned what I know, a good part of what I know about basketball today. I probably would have, been able to have some basketball knowledge. It wasn't all Hubie Brown. But I think there are a lot of things basketball-wise. There are a lot of little things, maybe big things that I've learned from Hubie Brown that I don't think I would know in basketball. There are a lot of things with that I don't think I would have known today without listening to Hubie Brown. And also, just another thing I want to say is that, like, listen to his voice. It's so interesting to listen to. And like one of the only announcers left that I think has like that color one of the only like color broadcasters that have like that like old broadcaster voice in them, so I mean, just listen to his voice was incredible as well to me as well. I always thought, like, as a young kid, obviously I loved listening to him and learning from him while listening to him, but another thing was like hearing his voice. It was always so awesome to hear his voice. But I wish him a happy retirement. I know he was an amazing announcer, and I'm really upset I didn't get to watch his final game. I was planning on watching the Bucks-Sixers game, and I get a call, hey, you want to go to the Rockets game? And it's like, oh, man. I was in a tough position, and I chose the Rockets, and I got to see my favorite team get a win, but I also didn't get to see one of my favorite announcers of all time get to call his final game. But happy retirement to Hubie. Such a good announcer, such a good man. That's the video. Hope you guys enjoyed, and peace out.